favorite professional basketball league ever figure it out? Leader Fan Radio Network.
But you know what?
And KFAN.com. 2 minutes, 36 seconds past the hour of 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Welcome back. It is a Monday edition of the Friday Football Beast on the Afternoon Aardvark. My name is Dan Barreiro, former Inkster and Wretch newspaper of the Twin Cities. Guardsy produces the show and is the, of course, radio voice of the Minnesota Golden Gopher women's basketball team, sideline voice of the Golden Gopher football team. Is it too early for us to get a sense of where Guardsy is about what kind of season we might be in store for on the gridiron, on the college level?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair.
A little too early.
All right.
Actually, on my to-do list on the way home tonight is stopping at Barnes & Noble to hopefully find the Phil Steele College Football Preview magazine that I always read 4th of July weekend.
Your Bible?
It's a lot of people's, yeah. To me, I think it's the best. A lot of good info, a lot of good nuggets.
Yeah.
Probably too much. He probably has too much in there. But 4th of July, because we're usually at a cabin or somewhere, I can actually spend some time and read it. So that's my yearly tradition. It's serendipitous that you brought it up.
Once upon a time, the Bible, I think especially as it pertained to baseball, back when baseball was bigger, Street and Smiths.
Oh, yeah.
Does Street and Smith still put out an online publication? Because once upon a time, that was the one. And then they branched out to other sports, as I recall, basketball. But that was it, like, no, Street and Smith, nothing else.
I think they're still there.
Even though there probably were other good options, that was considered kind of the benchmark of the day.
Do you remember, what was the college basketball one that's still there? It's like the blue something.
Oh, the blue ribbon thing?
Blue ribbon.
Yeah, but what was the name in front of the blue ribbon?
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Is that still?
I think it is. Yeah. I still see it kind of circulate online. And like you were talking about with Kessler last week, I could find a lot of the stuff that I need digitally, but there's nothing to me like the magazine.
No, I'm with you.
The big, thick, 500-page magazine.
Yes.
That I can just page through and earmark and grab things out of. It's the best. To me, it's the best.
I don't disagree with that. It never hurts to have that little something extra there that you can touch, that you can turn the pages. And, it takes up a little bit more room, right?
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It's great.
Right? It's not the end of the world. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line. I'm trying to reboot it as we speak and not succeeding, but we will get there. 64686. Did the Japan dream officially die? Is that match in the books? Brazil versus Japan?
I'll have to look.
I was buried deep in it. Japan shocking the world with a goal in the first half, up 1-0 going to the second half. I saw Brazil tie it.
Yeah.
I think Brazil went up 2-1. Is it over?
They did go up 2-1, and I believe they won 2-1.
Think it's done?
Yeah.
Brazil, which hasn't won the World Cup actually in a while, but it's still Brazil.
Right.
Right? And it's interesting how apparently there's some cliches that are okay when it comes to television and messages that are conveyed via your broadcast. Example, in the preview, in the lead up to that game, the music, basically the bumper music that was used through several segments about the history of Brazil's team, Sergio Mendes and Brazil 66.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorites.
We used to play it a lot.
But it's just, it's like, I wonder, I got to believe there's probably been a couple of other Brazilian musicians since then. But I actually was encouraged because that's how I think. If I think Brazilian music, he was a heavyweight, certainly. Double check if Sergio Mendes has passed away. Mendes. Grew up with that music, man. Love it. Just outstanding bossa nova beat to it. Maybe we play a little bit of it today.
He died in 2024.
Not that far, not that long ago. And that's what I kept hearing before the game. And then all hell breaks loose. They're down. They're looking, I got to tell you, I thought we were going to see the upset at the half. And I was totally invested in it. That's what I admit I was kind of rooting. Nothing against Brazil. but I was kind of rooting for that kind of thing. You know, the whippersnappers from Japan, who, by the way, had just beaten Brazil shortly before the World Cup began. How big an upset it would have been, I'll leave the soccer experts like Brett Blakemore and Papa from Ghana to decide in that case. 64686, Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line. The uglydeck.com guest lineup is set. We have two. Johnny is a Monday regular. He is scheduled for 5:30, and I'm guessing what's the game that most Wolves fans, invested Wolves fans, are playing? What kind of power forward can we get? Give me some names. Give me some possibilities. Give me a little hope that we're not going to have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to just get a big body. Because it's undeniable, whatever you think of the deal, the most recent deal, really the last two, you subtracted two main front court people. And you have no replacements, really, for either of them, correct? So how does that add up? Well, I don't know that it adds up very well for the upcoming season, but more on that later. But I'm sure we'll get into all of that with Johnny, as I said. And then Ian Leonard, to not necessarily talk weather today, is that correct?
He could because it's so hot, but that's not the main reason.
What's the bit today?
He was on property, as we say in the golf world, in New York. Same flight as Kessler's, by the way, I think.
Really?
To watch England in their World Cup match over the weekend in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Why was Ian Leonard watching England? His parents are from there. And he made it a point to go see. It's been on his bucket list to see his parents' home country, I believe, confirm this with him, a match in the World Cup. And so his wife got him a Christmas present and said, we're going to go to the World Cup to watch England. And so that's what he was doing all weekend. And he sent me some pictures. He had a heck of a time.
Nice. Where was that game played?
East Rutherford.
East Rutherford.
Yeah,
okay.
So he went out to New York, same flight as Kessler's. Not together.
Isn't that where, I think that's where the championship game is.
Sounds right.
I think it's in New York, I believe. Not 100% sure. Somebody will tell us. By the way, did you see, speaking of World Cup, great victory for Canada. First time I think they've ever won in the so-called knockout round, or the knockout stage is what Blakemore prefers. It does sound a little heavier,
the stage,
a little weightier, the knockout stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe the coach, or do we call them coaches or managers?
I think we go manager.
I think we do.
Yeah.
I think he's from the United States. And I will admit, I'm going to say something, this is dangerous, that I didn't double check. I've heard other people rip it, but I'm going to trust the person who was ripping it enough to believe that they wouldn't have ripped it if it wasn't true, that he apparently, afterwards, part of his celebration, he kissed his, whatever his credential is that has, I don't know if it had the maple leaf on it. Every country, there's a logo that kind of says it's that country. And there are people apparently bitter that he kissed the Canadian credential. Is that possible? Could people be that thin-skinned or that pitchforkian that actually bothers them?
They could. I don't know if it's happened, but I don't put it past anybody. No, all bets are off, too, when it comes to soccer nationalism.
I'll check it.
All bets are off.
Somebody's asking if it's too early for the corn sweat index. Obviously, it's not today. I mean, the corn sweat must be dramatic.
Yeah, you're right.
Today, correct?
Yes.
What's the current dew point? I'm going to guess the current dew point is 66.
Oh, you're not even close.
Oh, it's way above that?
It's way above that.
Seriously?
Yeah, 77.
Oh, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
I didn't know we could get in the 70s.
I guess we can.
77?
That's something you can ask Ian about. Because we're in an extreme heat warning.
Well,
at least until tomorrow.
I was going to save that, but I don't know if I'd forgotten about this or if people, see if I can get to what I'm trying to get to here. I got to X out of that. Let me X out of where I am, out of that story, which we might get to earlier. See if I can find what I'm looking for. So there, I follow a Twitter handle called Chicago History. And because the weather there is going to, I guess, supposed to stay as hot as it is here. They have a copy of a headline in the Chicago Sun-Times. This was from 1995. Let me see if I can maximize the date. The Monday, July 17, 1995 edition of the Chicago Sun-Times. Here's your headline. Sun-Times, a tabloid-style newspaper. Heat toll could hit 300. 116 die, few using city cooling centers. County morgue trying to cope. I don't have enough of a recollection that it got. We're talking about fatalities. City of Chicago. And I don't know if anybody's predicting it's going to be that bad this time. But do you have any recollection of? And I assume it wasn't just Chicago. The heat wave the summer heat wave of 1995, and how many people died as a result of it?
No, no.
That's not that far off.
No, I would have been 13 or 14. Yeah, 13 years old. I don't remember it being any hotter than any other day. We probably hydrated. We probably just stayed inside. That's probably why I didn't know.
Well, there's another, and we'll say this is definitely savable for another day. There's a big transoceanic debate breaking out over air conditioning that people here are saying to the Europeans who complain about how hot it is, get some air conditioning.
Yeah.
They say, we don't have a history that believes in air conditioning, and we don't want to ruin the planet. Even though I don't think there's much indication that air conditioning is going to do that, among other things. But that's the new battle. Is air conditioning, air conditioning definitely makes us soft, but does that mean we have to apologize for it? Because I don't think many Americans will who are lucky enough to have access to it.
And a lot of the Americans that are over in London right now, for example, for Wimbledon, they make their accommodations
on that basis?
Based on
interesting.
Do they have air conditioning or do they not? Because they're accustomed to it. They don't mind playing tennis when it's hot. But they don't want to be sitting there.
Well, and again, there's some Europeans who say we actually like living where it's a little warm, but then the question is how hot is too hot, even if that's what you're more accustomed to, or say that's sort of the way we want to live. I would say live and let live in each case, but that's just me. Corn sweat is late summer when the corn is drying out. Now its growing needs to use all its moisture. So it's too early for corn sweat, apparently.
Okay. That makes sense.
It's not too early to sweat, because if you're out in there much today, you sweat.
Dew point 77.
That's
high.
That's got to be Well, we'll ask Ian Leonard at 4 if that's close to the record and how long that's going to last, and we'll talk World Cup with him. I did mention off the top of the program will Guardsy's favorite professional basketball league ever figure it out? I didn't check that with you. I don't know if the WNBA is your favorite professional basketball league, but for the purposes of this bit, that's what I went with.
We'll make it. It's not, but we'll make it. I'll play the part.
We'll explore that next.
This is Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barreiro.
This a little bit yesterday, but I wanted to get back to it today with you as well. The latest Caitlin Clark related blowback that isn't anymore so much about what did or didn't take place between her and was it Alyssa Thomas, among others. Although I don't remember the name of the player who was. It was a textbook example of taking away a three-point shooter's landing spot. Brutal, downright dangerous.
Right.
And that's not unprecedented, but it was a bad one. I just shake my head because I feel like we've been here a number of times before. But what I'm rebelling against now is what we're starting to get, Guardsy, is the big cosmic think pieces that express a weariness about this story becoming a culture war battle. And the implication of most of these think pieces is people are too protective of Clark, and there are too many white individuals who want to make it about race. That part of the culture war. And I'll give you a good example. The esteemed ESPN panel, this was yesterday, I believe, discussed the act, the reaction, the suspension, etc. They talked all around it. They made it sound like, well, the league was forced to react because, in effect, the still shot looks so damning. The freeze frame, the individual shot, right? When Thomas's fist is on the throat of Clark, who's on the ground at the time. And there was also a feeling of, well, you know, they both got up, and it wasn't like there was a fight after that, and they both just went about their business. And I'm left, after listening to that, just shaking my head and saying, is this really that difficult? Is it that difficult to say, cheap play, at the very least worthy of being thrown out of the game? And after the fact, even though nothing was called, yeah, not that surprised that there's a chance that you're going to get a player suspended for a game. Instead, it was all about the narratives that are created. And what that tells me again is there is a culture war that was established early that basically said, whether it was uttered out loud or not, we resent this phenomenon. We're not all in on it. We think it leaves too many other things out. Doesn't mesh with our history. This isn't the player that we would have chosen to be the one that helps us cross over. We've talked about that part of it a million times. Now, if you have real leadership in the league, you know, it's funny. Nafisa Collier was all over the commissioner, badly, we have the worst leadership in the league. She nor anybody else has spoken about one aspect of how bad the leadership is. It's on this issue. The inability for somebody to proclaim, to stand up and say, look, it doesn't matter if we wished it was somebody else or we feel there are already players who should have taken us there. All boats are going to be will rise as a result. It's part of the deal. She's in this league. The effect she has is to be celebrated. Doesn't mean you hand her MVP awards. Doesn't make her the best player in the league, which she's not. But for the people who are lecturing now about how it's devolving into a culture war, remember, the culture war started with what I just described. That was the first shot in the culture war. If other people then reacted or overreacted and then become too protective of her, it's because that was the message that was conveyed. Sometimes frontally, correct? Sometimes by actions on the court, sometimes by commentary off the court, etc. So we get into this, like I said, was there anybody in that panel, because not everybody has to agree, was capable of saying, let's not get too far afield here? Was it a cheap shot? Yeah. Doesn't matter that she didn't punch her in the throat, as far as I'm concerned, and I don't think anybody's alleging that that's what it was. It wasn't a punch. She's on the ground, and Thomas is trying to get up, and very clearly, she's aware of what she's doing 100%. Do you agree?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, doesn't mean she gets thrown out of the league. Now, Chris Brennan has suggested that a bigger message needed to be delivered at this late date, 10-game suspension. That sounds too high for me, to be honest. I understand what point she's trying to make.
It's like 25% of the season.
That's too much for me. But it becomes this game of let's talk all the way around it, because if we don't, what? You're going to acknowledge the possibility that Caitlin Clark was wronged? Obnoxious players can be wronged, if you want to call her that. Because we've talked about this for how long. She's not in that sense. She plays her own game that can be annoying, that can work on other players' nerves. It can work on broadcasters' nerves,
sure.
for God's sake.
For sure.
But what it tells me is, I hate continuing to repeat it. The league still doesn't get it. It doesn't. It does not, for whatever reason, get it. I want to read a couple sentences from a Brennan column, USA Today. In a rookie WNBA season, Clark and the Fever drew an average of 17,036 their home games, more than the average home attendance of 5 NBA teams that year. And in a rookie season last year, Beckers couldn't consistently sell out, that's Paige Beckers, a 6,251-seat arena. In 20 home games held there, 7 sold out. These facts make some longtime WNBA players, reporters, and fans, especially those from UConn, mad, even sad. I understand they wish a player like Maya Moore, Clark's favorite growing up, would have been so famous that everyone, sports fan or not, knew her name as they do with Clark. I wish it happened too, but it didn't. Do they want the small thing to stay small forever? Of course, race and sexual orientation play a massive role in this conversation. The WNBA is a league that is 74% black or mixed race, with a sizable gay population, according to my book, On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports. Clark is white and straight. Here, the WNBA also failed to anticipate Clark's immense appeal and facilitate conversations about these issues before she arrived, as any workplace should when an enormous cultural shift is about to occur. WNBA didn't do that, allowing the void to be filled with anger and aggression. 3 seasons in, it's all clearly still there, night after night, game after game, a significant problem that a one-game suspension is hardly going to begin to solve. And again, the danger of the start of the culture war is what it set in motion. And what it has now set in motion is the possibility that so-called Clark supporters are going to overreact and be overly protective and blow some quote-unquote incidents out of proportion for what they're really worth, right? But I would argue that's part of the reason that defensiveness exists. Because on the front end, this has just been far more difficult than it needed to be. And it was that ongoing perception thing. What were we told over and over? In one form or another. She hasn't done enough to acknowledge what came before her. Do we have a clip on that? Because this is from, had she even played a game in the WNBA yet?
I don't believe she had yet been drafted yet.
And this was on a Saturday Night Live episode.
It was.
In which it's the weekend update. And I don't remember who the anchor was, but
Michael Che.
He's doing the bit on basically mocking everything related to women's sports. Why would we ever cover any of it? And that's part of the bit.
And she calls him out.
And so here, listen to what Caitlin, for those who said that's the start of this, if she just would have responded or acknowledged that she's a small piece in what came before, by God, everybody would have been fine with it, because after you listen to this, you'll know that's a lie. But go ahead. Let's listen
no
to
problem, and good luck in the WNBA. I hope you have a great first season.
Thanks. I'm sure it will be a big first step for me. But it's just one step for the WNBA. Thanks to all the great players like Cheryl Swoops, Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, the great Dawn Staley, and my basketball hero, Maya Moore. These are the women that kicked down the door so I could walk inside. So I want to thank them tonight for laying the foundation. And Michael, since you're such a big fan, I brought you a souvenir. It's an apron signed by me.
All right, we'll fade it. That was a bit based on a comment he had made earlier regarding the apron. Well, I don't know how she could not have been. How she could have been any more solicitous and respectful, and even humble about what had come before her. This was the bit with us 2 years ago. Was like
yes.
It almost was like
we still do it.
She needs to do it one way or another before every time she opens her mouth, apparently. And I think some of this is I think deep down I gotta believe some of the individuals who participated in this childishness kind of know it, but they don't know. I guess they don't know how to get out of it. And now they're getting defensive because, as I said, once this spiral starts, it gets out of control, and then people get irrational in protecting her beyond what any given transgression really revealed itself to be. Correct? Don't you think that's part of it?
Yes.
And so it's like, well, then I'm going to they're going to dig in. I'm going to dig in then.
It's like everything that's polarizing now.
Was a former football player? I should have saved this one too. Basically said, we don't need the league doesn't need Caitlin Clark anymore. Thank you for what you did. You served your purpose. But now there are a bunch of players that are better. There might be. But again, in what other league is this kind of conversation necessary? Where does it take place? We don't need her anymore.
To answer your question, will they ever get it? The history would say that they will not and do not.
No, not this long in. That's what it was reinforced. Absolutely.
And I thought even last year she was injured for a big part of the season, right? If I remember correctly.
That is correct. She missed a lot, and now she's hurt again.
Yes.
And that may end up telling part of her story.
Sure.
Where she will lose her appeal simply because she's not available.
And so maybe that's why it felt like things were calmer last year.
Yeah.
Because I really thought we were past a lot of this nonsense. But now, with what's going on, like every game, and I watch a fair amount of Fever games, like most people, like most people that watch the league. If the Fever are on, you're typically watching it because, to me, she's still box office. It's still worth, it's not a phenomenon, but I just like watching them play. And there's something, Sophie Cunningham just said this on her podcast. There's not something like this with Alyssa Thomas every single night, but there's something, it seems like almost every night, where someone's a little extra chippy, someone's a little extra physical. You can tell they're trying to, kind of get her off her spots that way. And it's just, I don't know if she's not officiated the same way. I know Lisa Leslie has talked about that as recently as this weekend, but I don't think that they can ever get out of their own way. Even just with still the lumping in Caitlin with a lot of these other younger players. Even Paige, right? Who's, I think both of us agree, is pretty damn good.
Terrific.
We've always liked her. There's a reality of box office with Caitlin versus Paige, even though she's one of us.
Well, and again, part of that is easily explained. I think about if you're part of the UConn Mafia, sadly, no individual player always gets probably the amount of attention they would if they, let's say if you put Paige Beckers at the University of Iowa,
right,
where everything is built around her,
right.
There's probably going to be a different feeling about Paige Beckers.
And you did things that no one had ever done before at that school.
Correct.
In back-to-back years and changed the program really forever.
Isn't that complicated?
Yeah, it's your
fatiguing.
Guy.
It's your guy, former ESPN and Fox Sports star, Emmanuel Acho.
Oh, I did see this. Yeah.
The W at this junction in time, we'd be better off without Caitlin Clark because she's a bigger distraction than she is an additive. Why? That's the issue. Who's making her the distraction? Behavior on the court, the way other individuals deal with her from time to time. It's not, again, there's no conspiracy here. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't say, well, it's unfortunate that Caitlin Clark's throat got in the way of one of the great WNBA players just trying to get herself off the court. Mm-hmm. That's the next step that somebody's going to say, correct? We can go to 42, right?
We can, yes.
64686. By the way, can you hit the breaking news sounder? I should have had it up, although I didn't know. No.
You never know when breaking news is coming.
The Minnesota Timberwolves have not made another trade, at least not that has been reported. However, your guy, you familiar with Shams Charania?
I am.
The Memphis Grizzlies are trading two-time NBA All-Star Ja Morant to the Portland Trail Blazers for Jeremy Grant and Chris Murray, sources tell ESPN.
Mike and Nori, you've got Ja Morant in a 1-year contract, buddy.
Make it work.
Let's go. Interesting.
How about that?
Yeah. Well, you knew somebody was going to take a chance.
Yeah, we did, and it probably made sense. I think if you're a team that is not, you could say to a certain extent, Portland's got less to lose.
Yes.
Because they're really not established yet. They made some strides. But you're right, somebody was going to. No question about that. No, we haven't gone over, well, the other breaking news is the Malik Beasley update, right?
Yeah.
Now he's indicted on more detailed gambling charges.
Yep.
Right?
And he agreed to throw 4 games, basically.
Yeah.
There's also a video circulating of him hustling to get a last-second garbage time dunk as a member of the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Correct.
That did nothing except help the Wolves cover an 8.5-point spread.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
That video doesn't look great. I don't remember Beasley being a tryhard all the time.
And let's be honest. I mean, you could make the argument that the Detroit Pistons are playing, if not for the NBA title, something close to it, if they are able to keep him. Because they have, what was their number one issue? Shooting.
Yeah.
Guy was a good streak shooter, right? And he developed into, I think, a better three-point shooter than when he was here. Olivia Miles is what Caitlin Clark fans think Clark is. 6'5" guy writing that. That's volatile, and that's explosive, and it sounds cool. And it may end up being true, but it leaves out, it's exactly what the anti-Caitlin Clark crowd love to leave out. It's irrelevant to this discussion in that the public decides who becomes the phenomenon. And again, as ridiculously good as Miles has been and can be, obviously, as we've talked about a lot, she's been in a completely different role till now. Does that mean she's not going to end up being a better player over the long haul? No, she probably will. It wouldn't surprise me if she does. But you're still mixing, you're still making it sound like people are trying too hard on Caitlin Clark. The Clark phenomenon was established for several reasons that can be easily studied, contextualized the whole bit. So to me, it sounds cool to say it, but I don't even, how is it relevant to the conversation? It's not.
I don't know, because like you nailed it with the public decides. And that's what Brennan's been saying.
Yes.
Right? Forever. And not the only ones. The public decided who cut through to this level. That's no accident.
No.
That's no conspiracy. It just kind of is what it is.
Because she represented, almost to a degree, it was, do we have another Steph Curry here? She the old shooting from the logo thing.
Yeah. The great passes.
And the great passes, it's undeniable. This isn't, if you get into that game of, well, this other player is better, it's irrelevant to the conversation.
Right.
I think, but I know that's the way we're going to, and if we haven't heard a lot of that, we certainly will.
I wonder, like, do WNBA players, some of those who resent Clark clearly, and you can go down the list of the things that have happened to her the last couple of years, do you think they ever feel any shred of guilt when they get back onto the charter plane with a lot of legroom and good food, I imagine, and get ready to go back home?
No.
Like, do you think that even hits them?
No.
Like, as they put their little carry-on underneath and say, all right, I'm here in, no middle seats, good accommodations here. Because that literally changed, because you can't have Caitlin Clark go through, certainly not the Indy airport, even though it's one of your favorites, without, causing mass hysteria.
This is from Acho. Now people realize, there's talent in the W. Talent that is actually greater than Caitlin Clark. And I'm not talking about bigs like Asia Wilson. I'm talking about the Olivia Miles. I'm talking about the Paige Beckers. Hell, I'm talking about the Kelsey Mitchells. He doesn't get the irony. No one would disagree on any of those. But how did they get there in a fundamentally bigger way, ratings-wise, than ever before? That's the lift all boats thing. Why is that so difficult? It's difficult if you have a built-in, for whatever reason, resentment about what you think she represents or that people were cheering for her, and you're not going to let it go. Now, again, he doesn't work for the league, but that's not, it's the undercurrent, and people can say, well, what evidence is there of it? Look around, man. If you can't sense it and feel it, you just don't want to, because the conversation is a little bit too uncomfortable.
Let Bumper to Bumper help.
Watching the panel, the ESPN panel, and the word that is used continuously, the league did this because of the optics. And what that, to me, is translated as is it really wasn't as bad as it looked, but because that still shot looked bad, the league had to do what it had to do. The league did what I think, well, I guess you could say optics do always count, but I would say you're minimizing it if you make it about the optics. You're making it sound as if you're not coming to grips with the act itself, which, again, isn't that she needs to be thrown out of the league. This is so bizarre. Let me get to a couple of texts. Where is it? This is from Shane and Shakopee. If Paige Beckers doesn't tear her ACL and miss a season of college ball, nobody is paying attention to Clark at bleeping Iowa, and there's no overhype for Clark. I don't know what to say.
I know.
What can? I mean, I honestly don't know what to say to you, because you're kind of missing the point. And I would say to Shane, what's the overhype? What constitutes overhype? She came into the league with a huge splash. Her team wasn't very good. Yeah, I agree. She hasn't won anything yet. Then the injuries take place, but where's the overhype? Did the college career not happen? Did there not come a transformation in which the numbers, again, whether you like it or not, because at some point, wouldn't people figure out, well, it's all hype, I'm not even going to watch? If there's nothing there, if there's not anything interesting there. And I'll say again, she doesn't have to be the best player ever. She doesn't even have to represent, the end of they threw away the mold. It can be unique to what she represents and the time in which it took place and how it played out. People grab on, they go, this feels like something a little different, right?
Yes.
I don't know why that's that difficult, even for that texter.
It doesn't take away from Paige Beckers
Not at all.
And yeah, there was some revisionist history late in those careers about, can you believe Gino Auriemma didn't recruit Caitlin Clark? She wanted to go to UConn her whole life and didn't recruit her. Well, part of the reason was because Paige Beckers was also in that recruiting class. Like, she was the top player in the country. So Gino kind of had a choice to make. I don't think he made the wrong one.
No.
Paige ended up winning the national championship her senior year. Like, it didn't take away at all. Like, and Paige was there at the beginning, too. They made it to the championship game that was here against South Carolina. But it was just different. People were lining up all over the country. We saw it here at Target Center.
Yes.
Down the skyways to get into the general admission upper deck for the Big Ten women's tournament that was here back-to-back years.
You want to get your blood to boil here before the top of the hour? This is from 651. Dan is trying to make Caitlin Clark sound like she's Jackie Robinson. She brought in so many racist, homophobic fans to the W. Great. At some point, there's I guess the conversation is over. That's just not an individual you're going to be able to reason with. Who's even? Honestly, I'm Jackie Robinson. What are they? What is he talking about? What does this have to do with Jackie Robinson? So if you are excited by Caitlin Clark and what he represents, I mean, we are, it's amazing how angry we get when what are classified as lazy generalizations are made when they're not in our wheelhouse or we don't agree with them. Then that's what we call them. Lazy, dangerous generalizations. But when you're in the mood and when it fits your need, whatever point you're trying to make, let's be as lazy and as general as we possibly can. You can't possibly be interested in Caitlin Clark, or if you are, you're either homophobic or racist. Godspeed, man. But that's not someone I think you can have a reasoned conversation with on this particular subject. And as I said, what that person is conveniently leaving out is the beginning of this process that was unnecessary the way it played out. If it would have been handled at the start differently, maybe with some humor, maybe just with some declaration, like I said, for some leadership, it might have set the tone and put it in a very, very different place. But if that's where your head is, man, like I said, have at it. It's convenient to the argument that you're going to make, though. Just remember that it's convenient, and be careful laying out stereotypes that I'm sure when they are used regarding an issue you feel on the other side of, you might go, well, that's a lazy way to look at it. That's easy to say. How can that be proven? Top of the hour pause soon. As I mentioned, Johnny Athletic at 5:30. There was another highlight reel, by the way, yesterday of Olivia Miles.
Yeah.
Who did we destroy? It was Dallas.
Yeah.
There.
Yes.
Just a destruction. And
with Reeve fresh off another Hall of Fame.
You could almost believe if you watch one of these highlight reels that, well, that must be for like a month of games. That's what's crazy about it.
I know.
She had my favorite, and I don't even know who it was to, driving into the circle, heads a little left, and then with her left hand whips a pass into somebody for a layup. Who wasn't even open. Got the ball with her left hand right to, on a dime. It was tremendous. So now we got to worry about, I guess, the only thing you worry about is staying healthy.
Yeah.
Because somebody tweeted at me earlier today, say they think she's getting the crap beaten out of her. Is she? I haven't noticed that particularly.
Maybe she's just handling it better than Caitlin.
Maybe that's it.
Maybe she's not complaining as much.
The
other conspiracy for later this week is somewhere online, Nafisa Collier was listed as a game time decision.
It's coming, isn't it? They're just slow. They're going really deliberate on this, and they're going to spring it on us out of nowhere, aren't they?
Yeah, they play the Liberty on Friday, and the Lynx have already kind of gotten ahead of this because they've been so coy with it. Because that got some people's attention, and the Lynx are like, we'll have an update when we have an update. And that's what we're saying.
Now we're close.
You got to figure they're closer, right? We're almost to July. We're 2 days away from July.
John from Minneapolis. Dan, so Caitlin being the all-time leading scorer in the history of women's college basketball, so that didn't happen either? It's just... But even these reactions tell you how screwed up this story is, still is, and that this league still, deep down, they're not going to admit to this. A lot of players, I know, wants to stay in its bubble. Wants all the other good stuff, the money, but wants desperately to stay in its bubble. Good luck with that.
You're listening to Barreiro on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is